Let's go. Hello, Rafi.
Hi, how you
How's it
doing?
going, man? I'm good. How are
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing good as well. I mean, today is actually the first day that I'm not sick anymore.
Oh, nice.
So first time at the gym again. I loved it, and yeah, love
Yeah.
to be here today.
Good. Great. Do you know what you were sick with? Is it just...
I actually don't know. I mean, I did tests, so it was not
No.
corona or anything like
Yeah.
that, but yeah, I just did not feel great at all. I was coughing all the time, also had fever, headache. Yeah, the regular collection of symptoms. But
Just
yeah,
ill. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, good to know you're better. All right.
thank you.
Um, I want to
How are
start.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Yeah. Um, just been training my brother's rugby team.
Nice.
Yeah. They're good. Okay. I want to start with like, how did you? So you're starting like you started your YouTube channel recently.
Yes, I did. I started, and I actually also felt like stopping at the same time. I think everyone has, or at least a lot of people have kind of similar experiences in that regard. I think
Yeah.
it's quite the challenge to start and yeah, putting yourself out there.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's not easy starting because especially with like a lot of people like judging and stuff. But how did
Yeah,
you
totally.
kind of get to that position of wanting to start?
Um, Actually, a very good question. Right around the end of last year, I was getting pretty dissatisfied with my job, and at the same time, new year rolled around, and I was thinking about um, what kind of goals to set for myself, and I actually wanted to take up a new hobby, and um, at work, I started to train a lot of people for the things that I do, and I found it quite repetitive repetitive to always teach the same kind of concepts. And I thought, hey, I could actually put this into some kind of media for them to self-educate, and
Mm.
started writing. And at least in a work environment, no one wants to read, so that wasn't very successful. And I thought I could do video, but then I also thought I'm not very good at that. So I made myself the goal basically to get better with it, and alongside with that, I stumbled upon the video of Andrew Kirby. So I made the decision to create a YouTube channel, and I think 3 days after I stumbled upon the video, and it was like, that's nice.
Was it the
So
which one was it? Was it the start then learn one? Start then learn, don't learn then start. Or that's
I
pretty cool.
think it was the video. I think he posted a video about basically his way um, to remember things. I think it
Okay.
was basically the concept where or the video about the concept of him taking in information, then using different kinds of solutions in order to um, resurface certain concepts that he marked as yeah, worth remembering. And yeah, basically at the end, or I think in the comment section, it was like, hey, you want to join me on this journey? And I was like, damn, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. Yeah.
that's that.
It's a lot of met a lot of great people in that community. Yeah, it's very good. All right. Okay. Cool. So, what are you kind of like? What's your channel kind of like focused on? Do you have? So, are you still working on like kind of videos to help, like you said, people like with you training people? You're kind of making videos for that, or
No, no, not at all. So the trainings that I did were super specific on the product, on the software products that we sold. So it, I think it does not have a application to a broader audience. To be fair, but I just went on this journey inwards and thinking about like, okay, did I ever help people in real life, and did I help with the same things over and over, and is there the need, or is there a potential need? I'm not as convinced yet if there is the actual need, but is there the need for my words to be spread to a certain extent? I don't want to talk like, hey, I'm the next Martin Luther King, so
I'm sure. I think everyone's got something worth sharing.
yeah, I think so too. I just need to tickle it out of myself and
Yeah.
find what's worth sharing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just post. I think you kind of just post what you want and then see what kind of performs better. You're like, oh, maybe I wasn't expecting that to do better, but the views don't lie.
Yeah, that is true. And I also had to learn something along the way, because back when I was a kid, I just did a lot of things that I found were awesome. And over the time, with working more and more in the corporate life, I started maybe to overplan to a certain extent. And with YouTube, I made the conscious decision to do it and keep doing it. But I think I got lost in the weeds of like, okay, how do I do it? And overthinking, like,
Yeah.
okay, what kind of videos do I want to make? And what ended up happening was I took a lot of the fun out of the whole creative process. So I want to get back there now, and that's also why I want to move the content of my channel a little bit more to something that might be more on the entertaining side. And yeah, see how that goes. I have a great video idea coming up, and I'm super stoked on recording it
Do you want to
soon.
share or keep it secret?
I can give you a little bit of it.
Okay.
It's basically about time.
Time.
Time, how it affects ourselves on a day-to-day basis, and what happens if we don't have it anymore. And I want to run a little experiment in that regard. But what exactly? I think you would need to watch my video then.
Yeah, sure. I'll put the link to your YouTube channel in the description of this podcast so people can
Oh,
check
that's
you out.
awesome.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, so do what I can for you. Yeah, okay.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So yeah, so shifting more towards the entertainment. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
important that you do something that you enjoy, because a lot of people, I feel, they kind of make videos that they think people will want to watch, but they don't like making them. So I feel like people can kind of feel that. If you don't like making it, then it's probably not going to be that engaging. Whereas you kind of want to find the overlap, like the stuff that you like making and stuff that people also like watching.
Definitely, and I think the overall mission hasn't changed for me. It's just that at least I feel like I realized that a lot of people who are already into this the personal development space, there are already a lot of good addresses to educate yourself. But maybe, just maybe, my purpose is to bring people into that realm. And I think the easiest way to actually get people into something is through a more entertaining lens, because I don't know a lot of people who don't like to be entertained.
Yeah.
So maybe I could be an entry point for someone, bringing them on a bigger journey.
That's a nice idea. Do you know anyone who's currently doing anything like that?
I think a lot of people do that, maybe not as consciously. Maybe they or I've seen a lot of people doing, like, for example, challenges, and maybe in some of the videos they talk about the kind of mental hurdles that they needed to overcome, or whenever you get to see them in a format that is more personal for example, they are on a podcast and talk about their lives, their upbringing and stuff, and then the audience realizes, okay, they worked to get to this point or something like that, or they took inspiration from this and this person and the likes.
Yeah, okay. I think that is a good idea. Like the stuff where I feel like the biggest self-improvement videos, a lot of them are like I know Andrew Kirby's, some of his biggest videos are like, I tried like Marcus Aurelius' routine for like 30 days, and I think that does help get people in the door, kind of, because
Yeah.
it's similar to like the kind of Mr. Beast kind of challenge videos, but then there's also kind of like education in there as well. So I think it's a good combo that you give like entertainment and then also some like actual takeaways which they can use in their life.
Yeah, I always wonder how people get started with personal development. Like to me, I feel like there's three big reasons to get started, and it's always super interesting to find out whatever got them started, like whoever you're talking to. For example, in school, like I feel one is basically you're like one's girls, like dating. Maybe you got dumped or something like that, and you basically want to change things around. Another one could be finance. Maybe you grew up in circumstances you don't want to pass on to the next generation, and that's what drives you. And another one I feel like is mental health. Like when people get like super dissatisfied with the way that they have lived their life up to this point, and they want to change things around. And maybe a fourth one could be fitness. I feel like there's also a great overlap.
Yes, yeah, I agree with like I said about like dating. I know a lot of guys who like start to go into the gym because of like they go through a breakup,
Yeah.
and they kind of use it as motivation, I guess. I don't know if they're like want to make them jealous or yeah, that is true. There is like those kind of aspects of it, but then I feel like the more you go into it, you kind of end up in all of it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I feel those four pillars are an entry to the overall idea of like, hey, work on yourself, better yourself. You can basically you can become whatever you want to be if you just put in the work. I mean, there are so many different concepts, but yeah,
Yeah, I think
that's maybe
you
a
outlined it
general
really
idea.
well there. I don't think I've ever heard anyone really say it like that, but I say they are probably the main ways in because you have people like Alex Hormozy and like Iman Gadzi. They were like, well, pretty like they were broke, and then they went to go and build these businesses, and that kind of was the driver for them. And then finance, well, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, definitely, that's one. Yeah, I think you said it really well there. I think. So, how would you kind of be the entry point? Do you have like a bit of a plan of like what kind of, so a mixture of entertainment and valuable like takeaways, or would you focus on
Yes.
one of those specific like four?
I thought about focusing on one of the four.
Because you're quite into
But
sport, aren't you?
pardon?
You're quite into sports.
I'm into sports, yes. I also got started with dating actually as one of the four pillars. But I feel like, to me personally, it would go into the direction of sports. I feel like, or when Corona started, I was bored out of my mind, and I started to do all these kind of challenges myself, just without a camera. And I feel like now is the time to just do the same and
Just have a camera.
explore my physical boundaries and also the mental ones. And I want to make a combination of the both of them to basically hammer home the message that, okay, unless you don't challenge yourself, what your limits are, you will never find out. And in order to challenge yourself, and maybe you hit a challenge, there are things to overcome those Yeah,
So like
those challenges too.
David Goggins kind of mindset.
Yeah, I think
Maybe not that far.
it's a long way. It's a long way to be on his level, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has said like I'm willing to like break my body to like strengthen my mind, and I was like, damn, this guy really is something.
Yeah, he's one of a kind, for sure.
We do need people like him though, I think.
Yeah, like speaking of the like, I laid out the concept of the 4 pillars. Where would you find yourself in? Like, what got you started?
Right, so what do we got? We got, what did you say? Dating, fitness, finance, and
Mental
like
health.
yeah, okay. I'd say it's quite a few. I'd say
I mean, you were quite young when you started out,
yeah, I'd
right?
say like 13, probably 14.
Yeah.
So finance, I'd say partly because people always like, what job do you want to do? Like they do at school. It's like, what do you want to do? It's like, oh, I don't know. So I always saw like a lot of people, I guess maybe my parents mostly, like they didn't really like their jobs that much. So I was like, oh, this isn't that much fun. And then I'm pretty sure I came across ads on like Instagram of like fake gurus. Well, I don't know if they were fake, but they were like selling courses or whatever. It was like, I've traveled to like 18 countries this year or something. You can do the same. I was like, oh, that looks cool. So I thought, right, I want to be rich. Okay, how do we get rich? So okay. I thought like I was gonna have to build like I think I was still gonna have a business, but it maybe not how I first thought it was gonna be, because I saw all these like billionaires had like businesses. I read like Rich Dad Poor Dad, 4 Hour Work Week, those kind of things. And then also coming at it from a fitness angle, I also got pretty into fitness. How did that happen? I think that came afterwards. Also, I'd say the mental health bit. I don't know if I guess you call it that. More like procrastinating and stuff. Used to play like loads of video games and stuff like that, and I was just like,
Yeah. But you were quite young still, right? I
yeah,
mean, you are still quite young. You still got
just recently turned 17. Yeah.
awesome. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have like high standards for myself, but I think that's good because
Yeah.
I'm just trying to push myself more. Because yeah, I see a lot
Who
of
do you
people.
think brought forth the way of thinking for you? I hope that was English.
Yeah,
Whatever I said.
yeah. You're from Austria, right?
Yeah, Austria,
Yeah.
Europe.
Your English is good though. It's fine.
Thanks.
Wait, are you native Austrian speaker?
Yes, I am. My mom and dad are from Austria.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, so you got to learn English. Well, that's cool. Anyway, what was the question?
The
mindset.
question was,
Yeah.
basically, who drilled that mindset into your head? Was it someone in your family? Was there some idol that you aspired to be like?
I'd say it was kind of myself, but not really. Like I put myself kind of into those positions where I was basically brainwashing myself. So I was with. That sounds a bit weird. I'll explain. So, yeah, I was like procrastinating a lot. I think that was the way in for me, was finance first, then like mental health / like using your time effectively, and then kind of fitness. But I'd always been like quite, I guess, into fitness anyway, just playing sports like rugby and stuff like that from, when did I start? Like 5 years old, 4 years old. I mean, not properly, but kind of. So yeah, the mindset, I think this is from Andrew Kirby. I realised this got really, really key concept. This really did have a massive impact. How I could engineer the algorithms to kind of like work for me instead of like against me, because I know like it showed you what you want to watch or like what you react with. So I went through and basically like cleaned out my whole feed, anything that was just kind of like entertainment, because I was like pretty into gaming a lot. Like a lot of us were like friends and all that. I mean it's teenagers.
Same.
I mean, I'm not really sure what else you expect really, but so into that a lot. I think I was probably actually addicted, to be honest, if I'm honest, which is not good. But I was like, okay, right, we're probably spending too long doing this. So I went through like any videos or stuff that, or so on like YouTube and Instagram that weren't, I guess, productive, or
Yeah.
just for entertainment. I would press like not recommend or like not interested or whatever. And I did that for months, and like following more like finance accounts and like fitness accounts. Um, so yeah, that changed. So basically, everything I saw was either like
Mhm.
about fitness, about like making money, or about like mindset. So
Yeah.
like
And
motivational speeches and all that stuff. So I think over time, I listened to so much of it, like it basically changed my beliefs.
mhm. Mind me if I ask what was the, I would call it the intrinsic driver behind that? Was it either like I don't, I want to be super rich. I want to go onto those yachts or travel the world 24/7 as a 13-year-old, or was it more I don't want to end up in a job and be dissatisfied, similar to what my parents are
I think that might
doing
be.
right now?
I think it might be both. The motivation. I think it's changed a bit. Like when I first got into like fitness and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, these guys
Yeah.
look ripped. That looks cool. Like, oh, these guys are rich. That looks cool. Uh,
Hmm.
and I feel like as I got into it more, I'm not really that. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like really materialistic. I don't want to buy like loads of, I don't know, like supercars and like stuff like that. I think it is more for freedom is the main
Hmm.
thing, but also like I guess kind of fear, I suppose, of like being in a life I didn't like. Because I feel a lot of people, especially reading these books and stuff, like how I think it was in Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about how like life kind of pushes people around, and some people push back against like their friends, family, and some people kind of welcome life pushing them and like
Yeah.
use that to learn. And I didn't want to be like unhappy and like not satisfied, so I kind of, yeah, freedom I'd say is the main driver, and probably like fear of not living the life I wanted, basically. Yeah.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. Um, yeah, thanks for sharing.
It's alright. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever really completely articulated it like that to anyone before, but it's good. Hopefully it helps someone. What about you? I'm gonna spin it back on you.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So back then, um, what got my journey started? I mean, I told you about dating. Basically, I was either 17 or
Wanted to be
just
with
turned 18.
the beautiful
Um,
girls.
yeah, the beautiful girls. I was going out like everyone at my age did, but I wasn't very successful with with the ladies, and that kind of bothered me. I was like, kind of want to have a pretty girlfriend, and I didn't. So actually, this one night I was with my friends. Back then, or actually, still to this day, I have a very close circle of friends. And one of these friends was like, "Hey, I found this super dope YouTube channel." And back then, shout outs to them, even though they don't exist anymore. They were called Simple Pickup,
Okay.
and um, they they actually got pretty big. I think they um, hit a million subscribers. And mind me, or mind me to add that this was back, I don't know, a couple years ago. So I think back then there weren't as many people compared to now on YouTube.
So they,
But
yeah.
basically, they taught a lot of good advice on basically overcoming the fear, for example, to approach girls and how to behave. And it was actually
Top 10
a
pickup
lot,
lines.
not really, but
Yeah.
they actually made it came from a very good how do I put it? They basically were super genuine about it. They did not want to trick any girls.
No, yeah,
I
yeah.
learned it a lot later that the pickup community, especially
Red
around the
pill.
2000s, had a very bad rap. Yeah, they were trying to manipulate and all that kind of shenanigans, and that was not the approach that we were taking. We were just starting out to understand why, for example, you get rejected and all these kinds of things. A lot of hard lessons to learn, a lot of pills to swallow, but it was good and it set me off to um, the basically what I got out of it was, if you want to have a girl that is probably out of your league right now, you need to become someone else in order to be in her league, kind of.
High value man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think that kind of concept guided me throughout my still young life. But yeah,
Wait, how old are you now? Like 20,
I'm
like, let me guess, 23.
I'm 26 right now,
Oh, okay.
but I take it as a compliment.
I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like if someone's young, but like older than me, I might have no idea. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
like I think everyone in school, or in school, like our school,
Since high school, yeah.
um, yeah,
Well, our mindsets
is
are all quite different than the average person, I'd say. So it's kind of
yes,
hard to say.
yeah. But I think you get this from nearly anyone, or or nearly everybody. That it's awesome that you start out at this young of an age,
Yeah.
and you brought your brother alongside with it. So
Yeah, he's coming.
that's that's awesome. So
Yeah,
just imagine.
it's gonna be fun this next
But
decade.
yeah,
This
I
next.
actually had this one thing that I wanted to do, not to talk about your brother for, I don't know, hopefully the first episode.
Yeah, I did say that in one of the other ones. How he kept coming up. It's been alright
Yeah,
actually. It's mainly people in the school who
yeah,
like knew because I said it on a call once. So they're like,
yeah,
"What? How is this happening?" It's like we can talk about it. It's fine. But yeah, I'm ready to really kill it this next decade with him. It's gonna be mad, to be honest. I'm really
yeah,
excited. Yeah, it's really. I
yeah,
really really appreciate having a brother. It's actually amazing.
yeah. I mean, I only have a sister, or I have in-law brothers, or one brother and another sister. But I think it's an awesome experience having someone alongside with you growing up, having this kind of brotherhood,
Yeah.
as a now banned person once
Oh yeah.
stated
Yeah. No. Yeah.
on the internet.
Yeah. He does have some good points about that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get banned for saying his name. I think he's already come
No,
up with the
no,
other
no,
one.
no. I'm just kidding, man. It's
Yeah.
fine. No, I had a cousin though. He's three years older than I am, and it was awesome growing up with him. I mean, we did not see each other as frequent as you would do with an actual brother, but it was always good to have someone to compete with and to strive.
Especially if you're
Um,
like close. I think it's a bit of a shame when people were like not like friends, I guess, with their brother, if that's the right word, not friends.
yeah,
Yeah, I just feel like it's quite a lot because I feel like you can have like a serious amount of like trust there, which
yeah.
is quite hard to with like anyone else. I think.
I also wonder what must happen in order for it to be that way,
Mm,
so that you're not close with your brother, because you should be by default.
yeah. Or maybe if you're like, I don't know, I guess a bit spoilt or like maybe like you got kind of treated differently or something when you were younger, or like maybe like there's jealousy there or something.
Yeah,
Mm.
probably.
It's interesting, yeah. No, cool. So, what sport are you into? Like, is it gym or like actual like football, rugby, anything like that?
Yeah, so I live in Austria, so the national sport is probably skiing,
Bodybuilding? No,
which I'm not doing.
skiing. Yeah, I just think of
um,
Arnold.
yeah, I mean, I'm not too much into bodybuilding. I just want to get stronger. I mean, also looking a certain kind of way is nice. But the sport that I'm pursuing since I turned 12 is actually baseball, which is very
Oh,
uncommon in Austria.
I can imagine you
So
playing baseball. I think.
you do?
I don't know why. Yeah, I do.
I mean, okay, that's fine. But yeah, in Austria at least, I think every young boy plays one of three sports. It's either playing soccer or football,
Yeah.
or they play tennis or skiing. Usually a combination,
Yeah.
because skiing obviously is only a valid option during winter. But yeah, um, baseball it is. It actually served me quite well because it helped me a lot with my English, above all things, because we get to play with a lot of Americans. Or we got to play with a lot of Americans throughout the years. We usually have a player or two coming for a year to play for our club, and this is where I basically learned English.
All right, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
and
you
you get to travel.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah, since the sport in itself is so small, you actually get to travel quite a bit. So, um, since there are not so many people in Austria playing baseball, it wasn't as challenging to get on the national team when I was younger. So I went to European Championships,
Oh, cool.
got to see a couple of nice places. I even that's probably my highlight of my professional career with baseball, since it's still a semi-professional sport here. I got to play in Mexico for the
Oh,
under-23 World Championship. I
how'd you
didn't play too much, but it was nice.
how'd you do?
We got that last,
Oh, okay.
but it was the first time I think in years that Austria actually qualified for the World Championship. So it was an awesome experience, and yeah,
That's cool.
something that I will remember for a very long time.
You still going with it?
Yeah, I'm still going with it. I mean, this off season, we
Mm.
usually play between April and October. I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus because I want to focus on my YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, but come April, I will be back on the field and trying to hit some balls.
Nice. So you're still in the national team?
I'm still um, in the roster, in the extended roster. So next year um, there's another European Championship coming up, and actually to this day I've never been in the final roster of the senior national team. So I try to get in that. I mean, I will be working out obviously, but I by what I mentioned with a little of an hiatus earlier, I will be working a lot more with myself and less on my own and less with my club, because I want to be flexible or flexible, yeah, flexible,
Yeah.
just for my other pursuits.
All right, cool. So where do you see like your YouTube channel going? Are you like really all in on this? You want it to go full time or?
So initially, I actually made plans to do this full time for at minimum a year. Um, I just saved up some money and I was like, okay, let's do it. But recently, I thought about what other implications that would also have, like for example, um, need to provide for my social security by myself, do like bookkeeping and all that stuff, and I mean, it would not be so smart to just do it and burn through my savings. So I also thought about the possibility to hire an editor and work part-time on the side, and I actually got some good opportunities right now that sound very promising. So I might do a split, and the money that I make I basically use in order to um, have less work with creating a YouTube video itself.
Mm.
So I'm changing time, money for time that way.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that. It's pretty good idea, I think.
Yeah, I heard it's actually pretty OP to do that.
Bu-
So
Buy
I'm gonna
back.
give it a try.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, do you work part time? Part time, you say, because of the like. So you have to, because if you just did it, YouTube full time, you'd have to like do all the paperwork and say like I'm self-employed and all this stuff. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't want to do that, and I also feel like with especially the new job opportunity that I have, I feel like there's so much new stuff that I can learn on top of that, on top of what I'm learning with YouTube. And those two jobs actually have some is synergetic an English term?
Synergetic. Yeah,
or
yeah,
or
like
yeah, they have some
together.
synergy basically. So whatever I learn from the one thing also has benefits for the other. So
Okay.
I think that's actually quite neat. And also my potential boss, he's super supportive. He's like, yeah, I know that you want to do the YouTube thing, and if you ever find yourself short of time for YouTube, then cut back on your regular work time. So he's awesome.
He sounds very cool, yeah. I do not think you find many bosses like that. Well, maybe not in the UK, I don't know. Maybe Austria's different, but yeah, it's
I
cool.
don't know, to be honest, but it sounds very promising, and it's yeah, I think like a lot of good things would fall in place if I were to go with those two things at the same time. So yeah, I'm gonna just try it out, and if it does not work, I maybe end up self-employed anyways and double down on YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah, do what you think's
time will
best.
tell.
Yeah, I don't think I feel like people sometimes worry about like decisions like that too much. It's like, well, you try what you think's the best, and if it doesn't work, then you just readjust. You know,
Yeah,
it's like you can't
yeah,
really know what's gonna happen, so it's not really worth like
yeah.
thinking about too much.
Yeah, like same with YouTube. I totally underestimated the amount of work that you actually need to put in. So yeah, that by itself. I mean, now I know that it's a lot of work, a lot of different skills as well that you need to get better at. For example, like if I need to get better at talking into the camera, being comfortable in front of the camera, also coming up with good ideas, with a good story behind the idea, and then also I need to get better at editing. So if I can outsource editing, I have more bandwidth to get better with the other things. And that's basically the approach that I'm taking right now. Because yeah, I think it just helps me with getting better with the other things quicker.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say well, right now for me, editing is like the most time consuming. So
Same.
yeah, yeah. I think like by far. I think people, yeah, like you said, people underestimate how much like time it takes. Like I feel like with YouTube, you can do it, and people think oh it's easy, but like to do it well, it's like such a
Yeah,
big difference. Okay.
it does make a big difference. But if I can hire someone basically who's I don't know, hourly rate is lower than mine, and I just um, basically I have the amount of income that I need in order to maintain and maybe to grow the my financial portfolio. But everything that exceeds that amount, I can use to buy back time.
Yeah,
And if I can do that, I think it will help me in the long run.
that
Or
makes sense.
it actually accelerates the whole process.
So you said this job is like kind of synergistic. I think that is a
Yeah.
word. I just don't think people use it that much. Anyway, like, so is it to do with like creating content or it's something digital, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say if it's not really like if you're not really
it's
allowed to.
it's it's actually a job in sales. But since I will be, or maybe, let's put a maybe on that. I will be leading the sales team to a certain extent.
Oh, all right.
Um, I I can basically plan resources and utilize them. Also, during that time, they have a lot of creative workers who I can
Pick their brains.
collab with and pick their brain. And furthermore, the company itself, they are very good. Like they're focusing on communication and on presentation. So if you present well to an audience,
Yes.
it also helps you to present better into the camera. At least that's my hypothesis. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard from many people that like sales is like one of their, like the top skills because anytime you're kind of convincing someone of something,
Yeah.
you're basically selling something. You're selling an idea, or selling to them why they should do this thing or give up their time. Because I read a book, it's called To Sell Is Human by Daniel Pink. I think it's actually
Hmm.
more famous than I realised, but he was basically saying how there's like non-sales selling, where you're not really selling an actual object, but like just convincing people. And like people do that so much in their life. Like always
Yeah.
trying to like persuade other people to do things. So yeah, it's cool. How did you like kind of get to that position? Because like head of a sales team, that's pretty like high up, right?
Yeah. I actually did not go the traditional route in my life. So I'll just seamlessly continue to where I left off with the pickup stuff.
Yep.
So basically, my life story was like I went to school like everyone else. I was at high school at least. That's how like the
The
school
Austrian
system
version.
is a little bit different. Yeah, the Austrian system of doing the A levels, and I never got to that point because as soon as I entered the realm of personal development, I felt like the direction that I was going wasn't quite the thing that I wanted to do. So I quit school before doing my A levels,
Which age is this
dropped out
then?
of high school.
Before A
Um,
levels, so like kind of like my
yeah,
age, like 17.
yeah,
Okay.
kind of your age, and then I actually took half a year off thinking about what I want to do, and I basically ended up because my mom told me like, "Hey, you need to work at least something." I was like, "Yeah, true." I was doing an apprenticeship in interior design, especially like with a focus on planning a kitchen. So I was planning, designing kitchen, and selling them, and that's what I did throughout my apprenticeship. Then I had to do my military service, which
Oh.
is mandatory in Austria. So that was 6 month, 6 month, and during that time, my cousin um, came into play because he founded a startup,
Oh. Ah,
and
yes, yes, yes. You mentioned this the other day. The Huel T-shirt.
yeah, true, yeah. And he founded that startup, and alongside with his co-founders, they were also looking for the first employees, and the person leading sales um, basically he was looking for someone, and this was actually right around Christmas. I was still doing my military service. My uncle asked me like, "Hey, do you want to stay in that company? Because I would have a job opportunity for you. I know you're good with sales." And he was owning 3 jewelry stores, and he was like, "Yeah, I need someone who helps me out with this store." And I was like, not so tempting. But at like 1 second later, my cousin said, "No, he's going to work for us because we're founding a company."
Had he even spoke
So
to you about that? Yeah.
no,
He was like,
I was like, "Oh, am I?"
Raphael will definitely do it. I know he will.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, am I?" And basically, then one thing led to another. During my military service, I also had some off time. I joined them 1 or 2 times, and basically, I clicked with the person leading sales, and yeah, the rest was history, basically. So I got into the startup. Then 3 years later, the startup was acquired by a corporate,
Nice.
and so we made a successful exit. Then we worked for that corporate, and now I'm leaving the corporate
Ah, okay.
to do the other things. I just found for myself that the corporate life isn't quite the thing that I aspire, because I felt like I lacked the freedom of doing the things the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Also, given that there's so many different people, you don't have as much responsibility compared to if there's, for example, a team of
Start.
6, 8, 10 guys and girls. Um, to yeah, everyone has a lot of more responsibilities on their shoulders and a lot more things to be thinking about. But
You like that? You said
yeah,
you like that more in the startup. Yeah.
yeah, totally, and also like by being in a startup, there are so many different problems, so many different challenges to overcome, which really makes the learning curve super steep. So that was also something that, yeah, really accelerated my personal growth. Also, one of the co-founder, the person that I was basically reporting to, he also served as a very good mentor to me. He was also very much into personal development, and the whole company basically said in order for the company to grow, its employees also need to grow. So there was this personal development throughout the whole country, throughout the whole company. So
That's super cool. Yeah, I
that
feel
was
like
awesome.
I don't know if I want to work in one or maybe start my own one, but I feel like a startup is like, I feel like that's the kind of environment I'd like a lot more than like a big company, because I feel like in the startup you're more like valued, and
Yeah,
it's like you guys are working together more towards like a mission, where I feel like with the big company you're kind of almost a bit like lost, I guess. Not lost, but you're not really like recognized and appreciated as much, I don't feel.
yeah. I feel like working in a startup is comparable to taking on an adventure, because there's so many things that are unexpected that will happen for sure, and being in a corporate is basically like, um, if I would compare it to the adventure where you, for example, just rent a boat and go wherever, it would be like the cruise ship with the plan where you're like, okay, let's go to this harbor, then this harbor, and everything is smooth sailing.
It's safer, I think, but like not as fun.
Yeah,
I always, especially after reading the kind of books I've read, like, and watching the videos I have, people like, I feel like people kind of too, like, they're
risk
like,
averse.
yeah, yeah, definitely. They're like job security, like, too much. I was like, I think Tim Ferriss in like the 4 Hour Work Week was like,
Yeah,
he likes to imagine like the worst scenarios. Like, if this happened, what would really go the worst? And then if that happened, what would you do? Then you realize it's normally not as bad as you think. So I feel like a lot of
yeah,
people stay in like one place that they don't really like for too long, because they think like, oh well, I'm in a good position and like, I'm making like good money or whatever, but I don't really like it. I just feel like same with the startup. Like, it's probably you might, yeah, I feel like there's a much higher chance probably of you like, I guess, becoming unemployed or something if it's not, because there's a high
yeah.
failure rate. But I'm not worried about that, because I know I'll figure something out.
Me neither.
I have a lot of like trust in myself, I guess.
Yeah, I'm actually more worried about ending up in a job where I just go with the flow every
Yeah.
day and have zero challenges, zero like the um, the learning curve fully flattened out.
Just sitting around waiting for retirement. It's like, that just sounds terrible to me.
Yeah, similar. And the company that maybe joining, they just got out of their startup phase. I would say still a very small company. So I hope I still have the startup vibe, have basically a 2.0 of what I had, but just a different role this time. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know. Let me know how it goes. Um,
Yeah,
how many
actually,
people? Oh, go on.
yeah.
I was gonna say
No, no.
how many people would you be like? I guess leading, or like.
Uh, it's not. It's a very small team. So basically, I think three at max or something like that. So it's still very small,
Okay.
and
Go and watch Alex
um,
Hormozzi's videos. Take some notes. How to run a
yeah.
sales team.
Yeah, I'll definitely will. So yeah, excited on that. Actually, one thing got me thinking. I told you that I was actually similar age to you when I
Mhm.
made the decision to drop out of school. I wonder if you ever had the thought about like I mean not like I don't feel like school. I wish I wasn't going there, but like a serious thought about like, do I need to do this?
That's super interesting that you said that, because more and more I'm feeling like that, because I've always been like very good at school,
Yeah.
like in terms of like grades and stuff, but like we just finished GCSEs, which were like 16, age 16.
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the year, and I was like, I really like put a lot of work into that and did very well. But
Yeah.
then afterwards, like I thought I would feel like this, and I was like, was that worth it? Because I guess I sacrificed quite a lot. Like I didn't go out as much and like do other things that I would have normally done because I was like studying hard. And then
Mm-hmm.
and now like in college or whatever, not university, like sixth form I think they call it, doing the A levels. It's just getting more and more like, it's even the way they run it. It's like the teachers and stuff. It's like I actually say something to them, and like they sometimes seem to get annoyed when I'm just kind of like, I guess questions that they don't like. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to go to university, to be honest. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to drop out of school, to be honest. I feel like
Yeah, like to the whole audience, I'm not trying to make him quit school.
yeah, no.
I'm just curious.
I've known it's pointless. I've known it's like really flawed system for quite a few years now, but I don't know. I know how to kind of run it. Like I feel like I know how to do well in the system, which I don't know if that's good, but I just don't know what I'd do. And also,
Mhm.
my parents would like, nah, I do not think that would go well. Um,
That would
but
be an
I
interesting
haven't, I haven't thought, I
conversation.
haven't thought about it too much, to be honest. I do some parts of school I really, really don't like. I find it so boring, but I can do well if I actually try.
Mhm.
But I find the motivation is sometimes getting a bit harder now because it's like, yeah, I don't know. But I don't think university right now, no. But I think I probably will. I'm going to finish this. I think that's the plan for now.
Mhm. Yeah. Eh, Personally, I don't regret it, like ever making the decision of not finishing school. But I also need to say that there could have been a lot of different routes that I could have taken. So everything worked out quite well, actually. So I think it's easy to look back and say, like, yeah, probably I made the right decision. But yeah, maybe when I get older, I might consider enrolling into university and making everything that's necessary in order to be eligible to actually go there. But for now, I'm quite happy with
I'd
my
be
decision.
surprised if that happened to you, to be honest.
Yeah, I might go to university to enroll into philosophy or something like that, into a philosophy class
I mean,
or
I don't know how.
history or something like that.
I feel like you could learn that yourself though. Like, I don't know how it is there, but like, it's fairly expensive to go to university here, and like, it's
Oh,
way more in America. Because I know,
yeah, it's not like that in Austria.
yeah.
So education is free for the most part,
Ah,
even higher education. So I mean, there are some private schools and
they haven't all turned into
private
businesses yet.
universities, but yeah, it's
It's
owned by the government, and therefore you pay. I don't know if you succeed and if you don't take too long, I think you pay like $45 per semester, which is negligible
It's like
compared to what.
$10,000 a year in the UK, and it's mad. They are like literally private businesses basically at this
Yeah,
point. I know in America, like it's like crazy. It would be like
yeah.
some are like $30,000 a year, but like I saw somewhere like the chart, and apparently most of the price increase recently, like they're not even really reinvesting it. They're just giving a lot of it to the top guys who like own and run the place, and I just think it's not the way the model's built that you have to pay. It's not. They are like, it's yeah. It's just they just want money basically. That's a big part of it, I think. So yes, I and also the time aspect. I don't know if spending 3 more years doing more studying, more exams is really what I want to be doing. I feel like I kind of want to get out into the actual world soon.
Mhm. So is there anything you already have in mind?
No, not really.
Okay.
Something maybe working for a startup. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I'll keep going with this YouTube and podcasting and see. Got a bit of time. See if this goes anywhere. But I'm gonna keep doing that on the side, even if it doesn't take off by then. But I also thought about like maybe going to like a different country to work, or maybe like even maybe go to university in a different country, because I feel like that would like I'd learn a lot from that.
Yeah, you could come to Austria.
Here it comes, $45 a semester, yeah, sure, or euros or whatever. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think for external people, it's
Probably a bit more, yeah.
yeah, it's a bit more, but it's still
Still not going to be as much as the UK.
no.
And also,
I think it's 400 a year,
yeah, okay.
maybe.
Yeah, my dad said literally the other day that like Switzerland is 500 euros a year, which is similar. That's close to Austria, right? The borders.
Borders.
Yeah. But also like it's a lot of it's like outdated. I feel like especially if I were to go, I'd probably end up doing something to do with like economics or like business or something, or like maybe computer science. That might be alright. But it's like, if you're so good at teaching business, why are you here and why are you not like out there like in the real world making a bunch of money? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Because yeah.
I think it depends. There might be a select few of professors who actually host classes and have been wildly successful, but that's
Definitely
just
possible,
their
yeah.
inner calling, sharing information, and they have yet to discover YouTube, or or maybe they do both.
Easier
For
pay
example,
for
Jordan
you.
Peterson.
Yes, Jordan Peterson, yeah.
Yeah,
He's a good example.
but yeah,
It's an interesting one. I'm going to have to sit and have a think. I think, well, maybe not sit down, but over the next few years, try and... But it's like we said, like, you kind of just do what you think's the best at the time and just readjust if it's not working. So I'm not really too worried. Because, like, have you heard of Gymshark?
yeah.
The business, yeah. The guy who started that, he started that when he was like 19 or something. And I think it was an interview with him, and someone was like, were you like that brave to do that instead of like go to university like everybody else? And he's like, well, I just know if it doesn't work, I can either start again next year or I can go to university later on. Like, or maybe I take a gap year. I honestly don't know. But like, it's not, I don't really feel like worried about it. I feel like some people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, you can always change. If it's not working. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just conscious of the... Oh, go on.
No, I feel like especially with people who worry about the future but don't really know where they're at right now. Like how you're supposed to know how you get somewhere else if you don't know where you're starting from.
That's a very good point, yeah. I think a lot of people don't really think about enough like what they actually want out of life and what they like enjoy and what they don't like.
Yeah, and know where they are right now within their journey. Like, are you planning to go to Rome from Austria or from the UK? Probably need different kinds of ways of transportation.
Yeah.
Like if you saw a video about like how I go to
different routes
to Rome by bicycle, and it's from Austria, that's doable. I'm not so sure about the UK.
You need a boat.
Yeah.
Cycle back and forth on the boat. I'm just conscious of the time. Do you need to go soon?
Actually, I don't.
I got something at 2:30, but I'm happy to keep talking.
Yeah. I mean, I heard that you usually prepare a couple of questions that you want to ask your participants. I'm not sure if you're almost done with your questions or how long you want to make this session. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I also saw in your like bio was like books. So you're into books a lot.
I am. I probably was way more dedicated in actually reading a year ago, but I still enjoy books because I think they can teach you so much. You already mentioned a couple titles, for example, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the book that actually got me started was No Excuses by Brian Tracy.
I've heard of that one. Haven't read
Yeah,
it.
it's a bit older. I yeah, I think there are a couple of titles which really changed my life, and I'm forever grateful that I was able to read them, and that's why books will or have and always will have a special place in my heart
And your bio.
and my bio.
So,
But
No Excuses. What other kind of books would you say were the main, like, catalyst, I guess, to transforming your life?
yeah, so No Excuses was what basically got me into personal develop or got me think about personal development more thoroughly and also about finances. Um, it was actually also the book that started like finances for me, even more than Rich Dad Poor Dad, even though that also had a lot of good learnings in it. There's another book that I'm not sure if there's an English version of it, but it's called Mit dem Elefant durch die Wand.
With the elephant something. I do know, like, a decent amount of
Yeah,
German.
yeah. It's basically with the elephant through the wall, which
Okay.
makes sense in German, but not so much sense
Yeah.
um,
What does that...
in English.
Can you kind of give a bit of a...
I give some context. Basically, it's about personal development, but it's more so about why um, why we set out things to do. We do them for a bit, but then get back to square one, and basically makes a deep dive deep dive into the subconscious and basically how this affects our behavior. And he is doing that by talking about an elephant, or basically the main storyline. It's an elephant. You're the rider of the elephant. You are you're conscious, but the elephant is your subconscious. And if you walk down a road and you can turn left and right, you might as well you might want to go to left, right? But if the elephant decides to go to the right, we are going to the right. No matter if you treat it with sugar or with a whip, if it really wants to go to the right, you're going to the right. And it's basically a book about establishing a better connection with your subconscious, basically finding ways to influence your subconscious to a certain level, and also to the thing that coincides with all the subconscious thing is how your reality is formed. And he's talking about the concept of the reality loop. You can Google that if you have never heard of that. But basically, it's a cycle, and basically that cycle makes up your perceived reality, and you can change different parts, how you experience them, how you basically your beliefs, your imagination, your physicality, and the experience that you make. And then basically you can also decide what you make out of those. And that basically puts you on a spiral, either a positive one or a negative one. I can give you an example of let's say two project managers. One's like super successful. He has the belief of, hey, whenever I want to whenever I start a project, it's going to be successful. Therefore, he already sees himself succeeding, which then triggers his body to release hormones that will lead to actions that make him succeed, which then further supports his belief of being successful.
Yes, positive feedback loop. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can also do that in a negative way, where you're like, I don't have the experience, or I'm not a very good project manager, which then also gives you the imagination of already failing, which then also sets things in motion in your body, which then also lead to negative results, and then lead to the negative beliefs. But what you can do is not only can you get familiar with your beliefs and start trying to change them, but you can actually adjust things at each point of the loop, and also between like an actual experience and the belief that will follow, you could evaluate the experience in different kinds of ways. Usually people go with the natural flow, with the natural implication of that, what that experience should mean, but you can do something different as well. Like, for example, if you fail at something, you could see it as a negative, but you could see it like, okay, now I know what's not working.
Yeah, that's really that's really good. I definitely see that, I guess, in my life, and I think that relates a lot to self-improvement. How people say they procrastinate on something, they don't do what they said they were going to do, so they don't trust themselves as more.
Yeah,
They don't trust themselves as much as they used to, and then that keeps loop. And it can be really hard to like change that momentum. I think
totally.
I struggle with that a bit, but eventually, like, you do start seeing, okay, this is working. This motivates me to do more. I think Andrew Huberman said something like, small wins create dopamine, and then dopamine creates more small wins.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, if something's really working, you really want to just keep it going, like, keep doing what's working, which sounds kind of obvious, but like, yeah.
Yeah, no, but you need to make yourself aware of that, because you can also find yourself, especially when you're like a little bit into your journey. For example, with fitness, for you might not recognize a training as a success, but you should. Especially when you start to lose momentum, you're like, but I made it this time. But this time I pushed myself, and find something positive that triggers some dopamine for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
A
Oh,
third book, and I make this brief, is 1984 by George Orwell.
okay, yeah. I haven't read it,
Yeah,
but I know the ideas behind it.
yeah. Basically, was the first book that made me challenge some common beliefs, and yeah, I think it's a good book to start with, especially on your personal development journey, because I think a lot of people believe what they're being told,
Yes.
always, and that usually does not make a lot of room for change. So reading that book was pretty good for me, and
Yeah,
it's also a story, which is easier to digest than switching from fiction to non-fiction.
that's really good one. Yeah, because I feel like questioning, I guess, everything is really
Yeah.
like crucial to your self growth, and I do really like books like that. And sometimes it's like it can be kind of uncomfortable. Like you read it and you're just like, well, how is this like? This is
Yeah.
crazy. But like as you get into it more, you're like, maybe there's something here. Maybe what you've been told by, I don't know, society, like the media, everything is not what you thought. Like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and also the 4 Hour Work Week, I'd say the main ones that did that for me, where it kind of
Mhm.
like literally like you read it and it like blows your mind. Like it's like that one piece is really like that transformational, and you can pin it to that. Also, The Richest Man in Babylon, I don't know if you've heard of that. It's
Yeah.
like fables, I guess, but like with money. And there's one page in there which I thought was incredible. It was like, it's like, you're so dumb, like why do you just pay everyone else? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you take your money and you give some to, like, I don't know, the guy who makes shoes, the farmer, and you never keep any for yourself. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense, because what was that? It's like, okay, this is extreme, but like someone said it was like really low paid jobs, almost like slavery. Apart from in between, you get money. Like you work, you get money, then you get food and shelter. But that's like, if you're stuck in that cycle and you never
Yeah.
can save any for yourself, you are literally just working to give money to other people just so you can stay alive. You never really advance. And also like the Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of things with like maybe like university isn't that great, maybe not everyone needs to go, maybe like job security and stuff isn't what you actually want, or like are looking for. Maybe the government aren't actually gonna like pay for you to like retire and stuff. And I think a lot of really do like stuff like that where I challenge my beliefs. And I think a lot of people, they don't like it. They kind of like feel pain almost when someone challenges their beliefs. But I think it's really good, like, I guess, habit to cultivate is being open to new ideas. Because one thing I kind of came up with myself was like, you could be living in like a kind of self-created matrix, and you're like not willing to wake up because you're not willing to really think and digest ideas from like different viewpoints, which I thought was quite interesting. How like you could literally be like believing something that's not true, but you just don't want it to not be true, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a lot of people get offended whenever you give them an experience that alleviates them from the illusion. I don't know the opposite word of bringing up an illusion and whatever. But basically, people take offense in like challenging the illusion that they're having, and I feel like it should be the opposite. Like if someone helps you to see the world as it is, you should be grateful for that, because it then gives you the opportunity to change.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people prefer like a comfortable lie over an uncomfortable truth. I don't know if you've seen the film The Matrix. It's basically like exactly what that's about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think
that is true.
Anything else you want to say? Or
No. I mean, I had a fourth one, but I think we're stretching, and three is enough for now. Also,
we
three
can
is a
go.
good number.
We can do it if you want.
The last book that I really enjoyed, I actually listened to it as an audiobook, which is the Path of the Peaceful Warrior. I hope that's the right English term.
I think I recognize that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a book talking about I would say a pro athlete, but it's also a story again. But he's not feeling happy, not feeling satisfied, and he's meeting this guy at a gas station. And this guy at the gas station, he sort of becomes his mentor, and because he's super wise, and he challenges his beliefs, and he's calling him Socrates for that fact. And it's basically a book about the journey, about different kind of concepts out of Buddhism, Hinduism, and it's a very good book. I used to listen to it every time I went to bed. And
is it quite short?
Huh?
Quite short book, is it?
No, actually it isn't. But I felt like whenever I listened to it, even for 10 or 15 minutes, every time I was like, that's nice. That's awesome. So I went to bed with a new idea in mind.
I think I found it. I think it is The Path of the Peaceful Warrior. Hang on. This?
By Dan Millman.
Yes. The Path of the Peaceful Warrior. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Check it out.
So we've got The Path of the Peaceful Warrior. Oh my god, what was the other ones?
1984.
Yes, 1984.
No Excuses.
No Excuses, yes.
And the German book.
Oh yeah, The Elephant in the Wall.
Yeah, no, with the elephant through the wall, basically.
Through the wall. So is that supposed to kind of represent like you can't necessarily control where it's going to go through the wall?
It's basically there's a saying, at least I hope there's something similar to in English, where you can be so stubborn that you go with your head through a wall or through a door.
Oh, right, yes. There's like slamming your head against the wall means like keep doing the same thing and like expecting something different to happen.
Yeah,
something like that.
And then just switch it up with the thing that you actually get through it. So with your head you can't, but with the elephant you can.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't think there's really I don't think that's a saying in English, really.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't the saying with the elephant in the through the wall either, but it's basically what he used as
Oh,
a
okay. So it's kind of like a
kind of
self-created thing. It's not really. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's
Awesome.
not an actual saying, but
Okay.
yeah,
I think we'll wrap it up there. Your
nice,
YouTube channel, Raphael, will be in the description of this podcast.
nice.
Thanks. I appreciate you coming and talking to me.
Yeah, thank you. It was actually the first time that we got together and talked for more than just the group call. So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it getting
Yeah.
to know you.
Yeah, I do like these calls. It's interesting, like, because you can go like deeper, and get to know more. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Yeah,
Have a good day then, I guess.
yeah. You too. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Yeah, I only saw your message today, like saying well done for 200 subscribers or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank
Keep
you.
it up.
I appreciate it. You too. All right.
Thanks.
See ya. Let me know if you how that job goes.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Bye.
Perfect.
Have a good one.
Bye.